Welcome. I am so glad you stepped through the doorway of curiosity. This door is leading you to the world of human design. You can think of human design as your unique architecture of who you are. So, in this video, I'm going to discuss ways in which human design can help bring you closer to illuminating the path of self awareness. Let's get started. All right, welcome. So, here we are on this topic of human design. Now, human design has been around for a while. I had my chart read between 5 to 10 years ago, but my chart was misread. I thought I was a generator, or maybe even it was a manifester. But anyway, it was recently brought back into my conscious reality by my friend Hannah. And Hannah read my chart, and then I've done my own charts many times, and it turns out I am actually a projector. And when I found this out and I did a little bit of studying, trying to understand what it all meant, I found that a lot of the things that I learned about projectors apply to myself. So I'm hoping that because human design helped me understand a little bit more about myself and about the way I need to move through life, that hopefully I can share this with you and you can bring some of these points into your life. Now, I have some notes here, so I will be referring to them just to make sure I get everything I want to talk about. So, human design has been around since 1987, and it was created by this man named Alan Krakauer. And Alan had a divine experience in which he downloaded this human design information. And he even went so far as to change his name to Ra Uru Hu. And he wrote a book on human design, and he made it his life purpose to teach this to others. So it's really just a combination of astrology, I Ching, Kabbalah, the chakras, the seven major chakras, right? Quantum physics and genetics, and it creates an energy blueprint, so to say, from your birth data. So I don't know the exact mechanics of it, and I really don't understand how quantum mechanics plays in the Kabbalah and genetics, but I've seen how the I Ching plays a part in this, and also the chakras and astrology. And basically, it's like this mandala in which the I Ching is on the outside wheel. Then we have astrology, and then we have the chakra systems within the body graph. So I'll show you my graph in just a minute. And this, just knowing these things helps to reveal certain things about yourself, your gifts, the way you react, the way you interact. And it really has helped me on both a level of confirmation, because I was already doing a couple of these things on my own, but also I had, ideas of maybe I should be doing something differently, and it really confirms some of those things. So basically, let me show you what a body graph looks like. Okay, so here is the body graph. These little shapes here represent the chakras, the energy centers, okay? And here are the planets on this side. Birth information is needed. You need your time, date, place of your birth to run this chart. And over here, these are the properties, and we will discuss those as we go, okay? So the body graph is a complex chart with colored shapes and white shapes as well, okay? So these colored shapes here indicate that this is defined. Same with the lines that go through, these are channels. If there is a color within these channels, that means that that channel is defined. The numbers that are within these chakras, these shapes, these are called gates. Now, I don't quite understand how all of this gets colored in, what makes it colored in, But I do know that each one of these gates has a different meaning or theme, just as these energy centers do as well. So with my chart, I only have 2 of the items colored in. And because I don't have an energy center colored in, that makes me who I am, which is a projector. And so the first thing you need to know from your graph is the type, okay? So it will let you know whether you are a generator, a manifesting generator, a projector, a manifester, or a reflector. Now, reflectors are extremely rare and they don't have any of these centers colored in, okay? So the next thing you'll need to know is your strategy, which is the natural way that you engage with people, with life in general, and how you make decisions. An example, since I am a projector, my strategy is to wait for recognition and the invitation. Now, this is one of the confirmations that I received when I learned about this, is because I have naturally been doing this. Because I don't feel comfortable in large groups. First of all, I'm not very boisterous, and when I'm around a lot of people, I don't feel like I'm heard. I don't feel like my voice is loud enough. So just in knowing how I am and how I feel and how I interact with people, I've always waited until I was asked a question or asked to share something about myself. And so this strategy completely aligns with who I am and how I have been operating. So another thing that we get from this graph is the not self theme. And that just means that when you're not following your strategy, that you become this not self theme. So if you don't wait for recognition and the invitation, you will get bitterness. You will become bitter. Or if you do something that is outside of how you feel, like if you're invited to a party and the only reason why you're going is because you don't want to make XYZ upset, and you end up going, but you go begrudgingly and you can't have fun because you're not there for, the correct reasons. You're not honoring yourself, right? So that's not to say that, we shouldn't show up to our sister's wedding. Sometimes there's just certain things that we might feel obligated to do, but there's an understanding of, why you might feel this way, right? And having this type of knowledge, of course, can be powerful. So the next thing that you will want to learn is your authority. So my authority is splenic, and this is the spleen here. Oh, we can actually go through these centers. So up here, we have let me get my notes just to make sure I am correct about all of this. Okay. So these are centers, right? So up here, we have the head, which is the crown chakra, and that deals with inspiration and thinking. Okay. And then here is the ajna, which deals with the mind, concepts, perspective, mental processing. Here is the throat, which is an identity and connection center that deals with communication, manifestation, and action. And then the next one is this one here, which is the G center. And I had to take a sip of tea. And the G center also deals with identity, and it deals with love, direction, and purpose. And over here is the heart center / ego. And that deals with willpower, ego, of course, material, resources, and value. The solar plexus, which is over here, that is, wait, let me make sure. Yes, this is solar plexus. That is the emotional center, and it deals with, it's one of the awareness centers. So it deals with emotions, feelings, and clarity, but it's clarity on a wave. And I'll discuss that in just a bit. Over here, we have the spleen, which is an awareness center. It is intuition, survival, instinct, and well-being. And then this one is this one is the sacral, which is your life force, work, sexuality, creativity. And this is the generators, like powerhouse. This is where they generate all of their energy, and that's where they have their power. And finally, down here is the root, which is stress, pressure, adrenaline, and grounding. So of these 9 centers, they all fall into 3 categories. There's the awareness center, which is the head, the ajna, the spleen, and the solar plexus, which is this one. And then we have motor centers, which is the sacral, this one right here, the heart, which is this, and the root, which is this one down here. And then we also have the identity and connection centers, which is the throat and the G center, which is this one right here. Okay, so throat and G are, I don't know why they call this the G center, but that's what it is. Okay, so those are the 3 categories that all of these centers fall within. All right, and let's see, what else do I want to discuss? So design over here, this, anything that is colored red in here, that is said to be your design. That is said to be your soul self, your true expression, your true spirit self, I guess you could say. And then over here is personality, and this is more along the lines of things that you've kind of learned. And you can think of this as nature versus nurture. Okay. If you have any of these centers or gates or channels colored in, that means that they're defined, and that means that really you don't take too much energy from others. Now, all this other stuff in my chart, you can see I have a lot of things not filled in, and that's what makes me so aware and open. I can feel changes in mood. I can see, I don't know, I just get feelings about things. And that also may have something to do with my authority. And your authority is basically how you make decisions, okay? How you live, how you need to go about expressing yourself and making decisions. So for me, my authority is splenic, right? It's my inner decision making mechanism. And if it's splenic, that the spleen has to deal with instincts and intuition. And so basically I make decisions in an instant, right? I know right then and there whether or not it is good for me and whether or not I need to do it. And so that is my splenic authority. And when you run your chart, you'll have all of this information available to you as well. So I'm not exactly sure. I mean, I've read or watched videos on this incarnation chart cross. I don't know what the variable is, never even heard of it. This profile has to do with the I Ching, and all these numbers after the decimal are also I Ching numbers as well. And my profile is 6-3, and you can notice that my first 2 planets here, the sun and the earth, both on the design side and on the personality side, sun and earth, they are 3 and 6, which that is my profile, 6 and 3. I don't know why they're switched, but but that's the way that it is. And so this has to do with an I Ching reading as well. Now, I have an app in which it seems like every day has to do with an I Ching number, and they kind of use this as like astrology, horoscope type thing, where if there's any kind of transit might activate a certain gate that I have. Any gate that is not colored in, when there is a transit, I am affected by it, according to human design. Or if somebody comes into my energy field and they have any of these filled in, I can be swayed by them, or I can feel their energy, or I can be influenced by them. And so one of the things for somebody who has such an open chart, it's important to know what is yours and what is not. And that is something that I have been working on for quite some time now. And I am getting so much better at being able to discern what is mine and what is somebody else's. So that was another confirmation of mine as well when I started to learn more about my chart. So that's kind of human design in a nutshell. So let's see. Let me check my notes. Oh, welcome back. Let me make sure I have covered everything. So we went through the body graph, the type, which you're either a generator, a manifester, a hybrid of the two, which is a manifesting generator, a projector, or a reflector. One thing I did want to talk about is for somebody who has an emotional authority, they ride a wave. Like you'll find, and this is true because my husband has emotional authority, and one day he's up, another day he's down, and it can even change within hours, right? And really what happens is that he experiences a high emotion, and then he goes down to a low emotion, and then eventually it'll even out. And so for those people with emotional authority, they have to ride the wave of the emotion and remember to not make decisions when they're at the top or the bottom of that wave. They have to figure out and know when their baseline is, because that's when they make decisions. Now, someone who is a reflector, they have to do it based on moon cycles. And I can't imagine what it would be like to do that, because a moon cycle, of course, is around 28 days. So it would be a great idea for you guys to run this chart. I used the app that my friend recommended for me, Hannah, when she got me started on this again about a month or so ago, maybe 2 months now. But Jovian Archive is where I got this body graph from that I showed you guys. And that, I believe, was started by the Ra Uru. And he has since passed. He passed in 2011. So, but I guess it's still run by his students or whomever he passed it down to. So you can get a free body graph chart, and of course any of these things you can look up on the internet. I like to watch Ebony. She has very short, concise videos. You can search gates. You can search, gate 44 to 24 and see what that means. You can search centers. So, I mean, there's so much. And I have an app where it tells me when the transits are coming by and how they affect my chart. And then I have my kids and my husband's charts in there as well. So I kind of did a nice dive into this, and there is just so much to learn and know. And of course, there's people all over the internet who are very much willing and able to give you a reading. And a lot of them it seems like a lot of them base it on like business strategy, how to be successful in your business using your human design. So lots of resources on the internet. Let's see. We talked about the awareness centers, the motor centers, the identity and connections. Oh, so one thing that we didn't talk about is, let me go back to my chart so I can show you. So this signature right here, this for a projector, the signature is success, right? And what that means is that, okay, how can I best explain this? So when you are living your when you're living your design and you're in alignment, the feeling that you're going to get is, if you're a projector, is success. So that's going to be what your signature is. So for a manifester, if they're living their design and being aligned, they're going to feel peace. For a manifesting generator or a generator, their signature is going to be satisfaction, fulfillment from work and doing, right? For a projector is success, recognition, and being seen for guidance. And a reflector, surprise, experiencing wonder and joy. So a reflector is basically somebody who's completely open. They don't have any of these energy centers, any of these centers filled in, right? I'm sure they have some gates. I don't know. I don't know if anybody ever has a blank chart with nothing filled in. But a reflector doesn't have any of these shapes filled in. And so basically, they're here to reflect what is going on in the world, right? So I think I know of one reflector, and I don't know her personally. I know her through YouTube. So so it'd be interesting to talk to her on how she feels about this. So so for that, there's another point I wanted to make, and it relates to how human design has helped me, is that because I'm a projector, I am my I just had a mind blank here. My signature is success, right? And for to have success is being recognized and being seen for guidance. And you know, I have always really wanted that, and then it took me a while to really pin down and really accept and understand that about myself. But when I read that, it really held true for me, and it really kind of helped me connect the dots. I can give an example also, because hi, welcome back. Because this YouTube channel used to be a place where I just kind of did whatever I wanted to do, right? And it was actually like an ancillary channel to the other channel that I have where I read tarot cards. I would do flip throughs on this channel, and just kind of not really have a theme. It basically what it was. I did whatever I wanted. And then I recently became tired of the flip throughs. Literally mid video, I was like, I hate this. I don't want to do this. And I stopped doing it. I didn't post the video. I still have it, by the way. And I didn't post another flip through. And I started to post these other videos where I talk about stuff and share things. And I just, that fulfills me. That makes me a bit happier than these flip throughs, sharing things, being able to help someone, being able to kind of guide people, you know, giving them ideas. You know, not everybody's going to ring true with this. I know my husband thinks it's, you know, weird, but he also thought astrology was weird. So some things I resonate with, and some things I don't. And I feel like I share a lot, and I feel like I'm interested in so many different things that I can sort of be sort of, what's that, like that person that kind of investigates everything and then brings it, and then you decide, you know, kind of like at a market or a reseller, you know, I find this, I think it's cool, I'm going to share it with you. If you like it, buy it, right? Except I'm not selling anything. So that's kind of how I feel. I feel like I'm kind of digging through things. Whoops. I'm digging through things and I'm bringing it to the forefront, and perhaps you can use it and perhaps you can't. So that was one of the things that really rang true to me, is that success, that I don't know why I can't remember that. That signature, right? My signature is to is to feel like I am being a guide for someone, right? And that's what the success is for me, is if I can help somebody get somewhere, I feel good. If I can help someone come to an understanding, I feel good. So that is human design in a nutshell. And I hope it has piqued your interest, piqued your curiosity, and I hope perhaps that maybe it'll cause you to go down a little bit of a rabbit hole and bring some awareness to your path, right? Bring some illumination to your path. So if you have any questions, just let me know. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care.